Morning, good morning, good morning. Thank you for joining this morning. This is Vinney and Beau show. Some of you might know me, Vinney Chopra, and my partner, Beau Eckstein. And we come to you live at 9:30 Pacific, which is 12:30 Eastern, every Friday. Thanks for joining.
And I think, Vinney, honestly, we at some point we're going to start a affordable housing multifamily division underneath Monale Investments. I'll run the division. We'll have a nonprofit component, and we'll help.
Wow.
We could probably help this in a big way, really.
I would love that. I would love that.
Yeah.
It's been an exciting week. I hope it's been for you also. Beau, you have some questions, but yeah.
Oh, yeah. I got a lot of questions.
How are you, brother?
Good to see you, Vinney. Good to see you, Beau.
Oh, thank you. We are so privileged to have you.
Hey, Vinney, real quick.
Yeah, bud.
All right, I'll bet you sushi that you don't know that. What does SAS stand for?
Hi there, everybody joining us, watching us. We are live in 7 channels actually today in the YouTube, in LinkedIn, in Facebook groups and Facebook. Thanks again for liking the show. Please give comments, share, and we are here for a very big show today.
Hello.
Hey,
Morning, guys.
bro.
How's it going?
Who is there? This is
Vinny
Mario,
can't see on his phone.
I think, right?
We got a very special guest here for Vinny's actually turning 70 years old tomorrow. The big 7-0. I can't believe Vinny's 70. That's awesome. I think everybody should strive to be have Vinny's passion and motivation at 70 years old, right? He gets up every day, goes for a walk. He's well traveled. Today he's in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, drinking margaritas and enjoying time with his family. So and we have a very special guest, one of Vinny and my good friends, Mario. And Mario's here joining us from Martinez, California. And I'm in wonderful Las Vegas. So welcome, guys. Mario, good to see you. And happy birthday to you, Vinny.
Good to see you. Happy birthday, Vinny.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I didn't know that was a surprise when.
It's a birthday surprise, Vinny.
Fabulous to have some good chat.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, Vinny, what do you
Picture
what
and everything. Is the picture going or no? Yeah.
Yeah, your picture's going. You're a little bit slow. You got a little bit of
No, go ahead.
There you go. That's much better.
Yeah.
You have a little bit of a delay. So once you stop moving, we'll probably be in a better position. But I guess, Vinny, when you think of the fact that you're,
Okay, I'll just stay right here.
can you hear us, Vinny? Vinny?
I can hear. I'm just trying
Okay,
to
good.
get a
So,
spot where it's better for you.
okay. All right, we'll give you a minute here. I'll talk to Mario until you get situated so we don't. So, Mario, what's new and exciting?
Oh, man. Busy. A lot of projects, a lot of remodels right now. Building out 3 units for myself right now. It's taking my time. Pretty much ground up on those. A lot of kitchens, a lot of additions, stuff like that.
So you don't see a slowdown at all as far as the construction side. What about the appraisal business? What are you noticing in the Bay Area real estate market, days on market and prices?
Yeah. So for that, I don't do a ton of current appraisals. A lot of my appraisals are backdated. People are asking for appraisals a year or two, 5 ago. So I'm not seeing current market data as much as I used to, but definitely I'm seeing on the ones I am doing higher days on the market. San Francisco, specifically, that market is very stagnant and more like Silicon Valley. The underlying areas aren't being hit as bad, but you are noticing some softening in prices. Who knows if it's temporary or if it's something that's like more of a permanent trend right now.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting times. I think there's a lot of people still buying real estate. I think I had Rod Cleef on my podcast yesterday, and boy, he's a fun person to interview. but
Yeah.
he was talking about that he's gotten some 10% discounts off prices that he's seen, on some multifamily. And I know Vinney just bought a $60 million deal, and they prior to close they retraded and got $2 million off the purchase price. So you're
2
seeing
million
at
now,
least a
right.
5 to
Right.
7% concession on multifamily right now. But I think
Yes.
rents are still I'm seeing rent increases now. I have one client that I'm doing a loan for, and he's moving up rent, and they're all single families that he owns. He's moving up rents across the board right now because the rent restrictions are off because of COVID. So, So anyways, that's interesting. It is interesting. I don't think any of us have a crystal ball. I just think that, everybody's just going to be buying good deals now and be a little bit more conservative.
Yeah.
So Mario, a question for you. What would you ask Vinney, knowing that he's turning 70 tomorrow? Like what would be your question when you hit 70 years old? What would you ask him? Like,
Yeah, I'd say to Vinney. Well, because what's interesting about Vinney is that you still work a lot in very many ways. You probably work more than an average 70-year-old, but you obviously really enjoy what you do at the same time because you're always so happy and you're vibrant and all that. So like, I think, a lot of people focus on health, and hey, I'm a health nut myself. I just go fast every single day for 22 hours. I'm crazy about my health. However, a lot of people miss one area, which is probably the most significant area, and it's work. And you obviously enjoy the work that you do. So what's your secret formula to finding something that you're passionate about? How did you stumble upon that?
That's a good point. But you got to love what you're doing, because when you are passionate about it, then it's not work. See, that's what I told. I said, I'm not working. She says, well, you just spent 14 hours or 16 hours. And I said, you know what? I'm as enthusiastic right now at as I was 7 a.m. in the morning, or 5 a.m. or so. So the key thing is enjoying what you do and give yourself really good time to relax yourself and make sure that you're not running and gunning from meeting. Like my meetings are sporadic, right? I might be good for 2 hours, then an hour and a half off, and then come back again, another meeting, maybe another meeting, and so on. Kind of pacing it out, But the big thing is to enjoy what you're doing. Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, I think that's the big thing. Sometimes in the loan business, I know I enjoy most of it, but there's some days where it's like, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? And then, recently I hired a coach, and he's like, you don't need to do that part, and do what you love to do. So the part I like to do is figure out the deal, structure the deal, but I don't like being a paper pusher and collecting the paperwork, right? Like that's, hopefully I'm above that pay grade. So that's where you got to delegate, and just doing simple things like that, I think make all the difference. You got to constantly tweak your business. I know like Mario's probably got a ton of construction jobs going on, and it's like, how do I figure out ways to like systematize and structure this so I'm only doing the things I like doing, and then I'm outsourcing all the rest, and it's getting done in like a very proficient manner. I mean, we always think like, oh, nobody's going to be able to do it like we can, but to be honest with you, people can. And even if it's 80% or whatever. And really what I got my takeaway with Rod yesterday, here's a guy in 2008 lost $50 million of net worth and like went to zero at 40 something years old. And that guy, he traveled around with Tony Robbins. I think he worked for Tony Robbins for a certain amount of time. And here he is now. He's 62 years old. He's traveling. He's making a lot of money. And it's all like what I see. Rod and Vinney both are very into mindset and like your similarities. Like you're very resilient, right? Like they can take obstacles and just they can make them turn something that most people would consider a roadblock, and they can move past it, right? And so that's that's what I love about Vinney too, on top of his motivation, is that, you know, something that might get me to stop in my tracks. Vinney's like, okay, well, we're just going to roll with this. Because the more you do, the more you own. Like Vinney, you're buying more and more properties. It's not like it's easy, right? Like, but you're able to deal with things in a bigger way. I think that's the good takeaway for our younger generation, like myself and Mario, is like, shit, we're gonna hit a lot of adversity, getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and also I think you got to also balance, you know, happiness within it. Like maybe, you know, owning $600 million of real estate isn't for me or Mario, or maybe it is, but
Yeah.
having that pillar of life, which I think Vinney does a good job of too. Like he's with his family now. He's very family oriented. I think that's also an important thing. As I got married later in life and now have a dog, right? Like even having your own dog, you start understanding, hey, we need balance. Like right now I've got a big dog laying at my feet, right? Like before I could travel and do whatever I want. You have certain responsibilities.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Absolutely.
So true. I think again, if I boil it down to, it's what you're thinking, and you set yourself some high expectations of yourself. I think that's many times we just believe that it will never happen, and it doesn't. Believe that I'm going to face this problem, this. 19 or 80 times you never face, you never come across those negative situations. But our mind is such, it goes for the negative in every situation. In every situation, we say, you know what, I will not be successful. I don't want to do that. Mindset is big, you know, Beau, what you just said, you know. You make up your mind, you know, whatever we are trying to do, and then you go with burning as if there is no stopping, there's no failure. No failure. You know, with that, everybody will be much better in what they are dealing with situation, with the stresses and strains in life. You got to just say, I want to do capable of, and let the chips fall where they will, you know? So that's it, right?
Yeah, and congratulations to Mario. He's having another baby, and
Hey.
I haven't got to tell you that in person, so that's amazing. And
Yeah.
you know, it's over. When I think about Mario, I'm like, wow, you've got 2 children already. You got a bunch of dogs. You got 2 businesses. You know, balancing your life is challenging, because I don't have kids. I'm 44, right? And maybe I will, but I also think like, man, like I am so busy. How do you do it? How do you do it? How do you grow a huge businesses and have your family? I mean, I give hats off, as I like, even dealing with just my stuff. I can only imagine having a newborn right now. Like that's going to add a huge complexity to everything, right?
Well, yeah, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. It's
That's great.
we were kind of half expecting it. We wanted another kid, but my oldest is 16, so we're gonna have a big gap. 16, 11, my son now, and then newborn here in January. You know, here's the thing that I've noticed. Anything in life, when you have to figure it out, you're gonna figure it out. You know what I mean? And so it's like you take on a big deal that you never would have thought that you can handle, and it might be stressful in the beginning for you, but you're gonna figure it out. And so at the end of the day, like, you know, people say, well, I'm not ready to invest in real estate, or I'm not ready to have a kid, I'm not ready to get married, all these things. Like, hey, you're always going to be ready and you're always going to be unready. So you just need to just do it, not overthink it, and do it. And for as far as like work-life balance, it was funny because before me and my wife met, I always thought that I wanted to be career driven. Maybe like my spouse is going to be career driven. And when we met, we started talking about having a family and all that sort of stuff. And she had mentioned that she wanted to be a stay-at-home wife, stay-at-home mom. And I really went back to my roots. And I thought to myself, you know, that was my mom. That was both my grandmothers. And, you know, we had a very happy, like, you know, well kind of organized family. And so why does my wife have to work? She doesn't have to work. So My wife, since we started having kids, has never worked. And that's how, if we both worked, it would probably be crazy. I couldn't imagine, but she being a stay-at-home mom, and she's also so motherly at the same time. It's like, man, we can have like a bunch of kids, and I still get to do some of the more fun stuff with the kids. I have to do
Yeah.
dirty work too, but she takes on a lot of that role for me as well, which really, really helps. And so it's all about, what's more important. And so for us, like having her stay home and raise the kids was more important than having a house twice as big, you know? So it's all about that sort of, like you said, it's a form of a balance and whatever is most important for you.
That's awesome,
So
man.
true.
Congrats again. That's exciting, and like
Thank you.
it's amazing. Like I just
So
saw
true.
I saw the picture on Facebook, and I'm like, oh my god, like that's crazy. Like he's having another kid, and it's gonna be, and it's gonna be a change because now you're a much more mature father. You've been through the ringer of being a dad, and now you're gonna experience again, and so it's exciting. And
Yep.
anyways, that's pretty. It's gonna be a great experience, and I'm happy for you, and
Thanks, buddy.
yeah, that's cool, and I'm happy that
Congratulations, brother. Yeah.
I'm happy we're all friends, and we've got different. We look like we're friends with Vinney, and Vinny's like some 70-year-old Indian guy, right? Like, I think people need friends at different ages, different nationalities, right? Like, you learn so much, even like when we hang out with Vinney and we go to like an Indian restaurant, we get to understand the culture a little bit. Like, I love that. I love meeting people with different backgrounds. Like, who would ever thought like Vinney and I would be buddy buddy, right? Like, we're just two different pods, but yet we're so much alike, right?
Yeah.
Like, and Vinney's like really into marketing, and we're sharing ideas, and I love that. And Mario with like all Mario's personal development and all his like health and nutrition stuff. It's cool having friends that can share really good wisdom, right? Like, and we've got our friend Eric, and Eric's constantly posting how much money he's making on his Airbnb properties,
Yeah.
and I think he shares it with Mario and I because he likes that we give him pats on the back, and like he doesn't really have that many peers around him that he would say, oh, I made X amount of dollars last month, and like most people would be like, don't show off, like, or whatever, or Vinney like making $1 million, having $1 million day. Whereas I look at that as like, that's awesome. Like, I'm glad my friends are crushing it, right? Like, and I think people have to have that mindset. Like, hey, look, like your friends need to be successful. Your friends need to push you in different ways, like in health and fitness and family, and like, hey, like, become more balanced, right? Like, there's a difference between Mario and Eric. Eric's a single bachelor guy, and Mario's a family guy, right? Like, at some point, Eric is going to settle down, in his 40s, and it's going to be a reality check, right? Like, when I got married, it's a little bit of a reality check. Like, hey, I have another person I have to check in with. I can't just do what I want, right? And like, it's interesting dynamics, and I think people need to get out there and interact with other people and have friends all different ages and nationalities and different situations, and I think that's been my game changer. Like, my assistant and Mario was working with Ann for a while. Here is this 70-year-old lady that is cool, and you can go drink a beer with her, and I think people like that. Ann had such an impact on me because of like the wisdom and experience she's had in her life, right? Like, we all go through life and we experience these different scenarios, and it's like, I look at my dad, and my dad's like, oh, my back's sore, and it's like, I never said, oh, my back's gonna be sore from sitting. Now my back's sore from sitting so much, right? Like, so you're seeing these experiences with different people, and you're like, no, that will never be me. I'm never gonna be that middle-aged guy. But eventually you become that 44-year-old guy and that 70-year-old guy, and then you got to be happy when you're that 70-year-old guy, and like, you still have passion. And so, Vinney, over the next 10 years, before you turn 80 years old, what do you foresee? I mean, what's the real vision? I mean, money's money. I mean, at some point you probably going to need to make more money, but what is the ultimate vision for you over the next 30 years of life?
I would say, I'm so about a lot of stuff going on in my life. Of course, seniors, I'm building those Hampton Manors, senior assisted livings, when memory on my mind, all across USA. Charities are very big thing on our going into the zero carbon or carbon neutral Bava. It's going to be a huge one. Charity water is big. We want to do some more education wise, my academy and everything. We are doing some special thing. Is coming out and purchasing hotels has really gotten me excited. We have 3 more after that, and taking that company as a, and then of course multifamily, Bitcoin mining, as you know, invested in a cookbook kind of alternative company, Scarlet Books, and Metaverse. I became a partner also in that one. So all those new things which I want to accomplish in the next 10 years. Of course,
Wow, that's amazing.
just be motivated, just to be excited, because I just can't sit idle. And you got to just be productive. And acrylic, my whole big box of acrylics, they arrive at my office. So I'll be learning, going back to acrylics and traveling. I forgot about traveling. We are in Puerto now. We go to Peru, Argentina, and all. Then next year, several vacations already. There's just so much
That's amazing.
things to do.
Yeah, if you listen to Vinney, Vinny's got a passion for many things, and what I like about Vinney, he's always learning. He's a lifetime learner. Another point, Mario, which is cool, is Rod showed me a picture of all lanyards from all the. Rod didn't go to college or anything, so I'm like, we're in the same boat, right? I didn't go to college, but Rod has like hundreds of lanyards from trainings he's doing. Yeah. And he's, like it's very, these traits are very similar. Lifetime learners, motivation, mastery, all this stuff. So that's amazing that Vinny's got so much going on. Like the guy is always doing something. What about you, Mario? What's on your plate for the next couple of years?
Yeah, man. For me, I'm just gonna keep on. Right now that real estate's getting a little bit better, I'm gonna keep on buying rentals. And and probably building out some rentals. That's like my big kind of like right now. I'm starting to see deals come across the desk. I mean, Beau, you and I, we flipped a lot of properties, bought a lot of properties together.
It's okay if I can kind of leave. I know
for the longest time we couldn't see any
traveling to. So thank you so much, Beau. Thank you so much, Mario.
Oh, you gotta take off.
We are to another hotel in the Punta Mita Conrad Hotel. So we booked there. So yeah, we'll talk to you. Thank you.
All right, happy birthday, Vinny.
Thank you for having
Enjoy,
me.
buddy.
Birthday.
Thank
Happy
you.
70th.
Thank you.
Enjoy the time with the family.
Thank you. Bye.
So Mario, we'll stay on just for a few more minutes if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So what you were saying is that you're focused on like finding rentals, and then your skill, your real. Let me put Vinny on a second. All right, I think I muted him. Okay.
We'll just watch him walk around in Puerto Vallarta.
Yeah. And anyway, so what you're doing, what your real focus is on is buying properties and then like trying to like maximize the properties through like adding ADU units, junior ADU units, and so forth. So that I think that's the way to go, because if you just bought like a single family house in the Bay Area, you're not going to cash flow. Right. But what your specialty is adding value and creating the opportunities and finding the right floor plans to add these ADU and junior ADU units. So like it's way different, because I think that's the big takeaway of like looking at all the properties over the years. If you just would have held on to more, right, like instead of selling, and then so you're identifying properties right now like that you can add secondary units and so forth. So what do you look for specifically?
Well, I mean, ultimately, what I'm looking at specifically is what you said is like with the single family homes, and so. Obviously, I'm still going to look for 2 and 4 unit properties and so on and so forth. That's a nice niche for me. I like small multifamily. Like where I'm way different than Vinny is like, I know I like to invest in Vinny's deals, but I don't have, my tentacles all around the United States like Vinny does, looking for huge multifamily deals. My deals are different. Mine are all here in my local market and all hands on. And so, in my value add is that I do construction, and so I can add value that way, right? And so what I'm specifically looking for is something with a potential second unit. So even if it's just a unfinished basement, if it's a full size basement, then I can work with that. If it has like a converted garage, or it has a detached unit, that is maybe like a partial unit, maybe has sewer running to it already, but nothing else. So just stuff like that. In the case of the property I'm adding the 2 units to right now, that was a single family that didn't have any of that. What it did have though is a half acre. It's a hilly property, so it's not perfect half acre. But I could cut into the hill, and that's exactly what I'm doing. So we're cutting into the hill and putting a whole unit like on the hillside basically. And so we're going to build a foundation into the hill and give complete front access. So it's like it's going to look like it's like the neighbor's property. And the reason that worked out, because instead of me flipping it, it's because I crunched the numbers and I'll make cash flow on it. So I'm not really super picky as long as it cash flows. And I figure for me at this point, I want it to be at least cash flowing $1,000 a month. Now, preferably more. And so, again, you get one that's $1,000 a month. You do that 10 times, you have $10,000 a month. So my goal now, I have plenty of construction work. My appraisal business is doing really good. I want, like, the next chapter of my life is really refocusing again, like I did in the past, on cash flow properties. It's the one thing I wish I would have focused more on.
Yeah.
I think
here.
yeah, right. So I mean,
Yeah.
how many deals, Beau, did we sell, and then we looked back at them and go, man, we could have kept the thing as rental, or look how much equity we'd have in it. We'd have $250,000, $500,000 of equity in these properties had we kept them. But it's not an easy thing to do when you're also flipping. And so
Right.
we were flipping to make money too. So it's just one of those things that I'm really trying to be cognizant of. And like my construction business is like, a good money maker right now. And that way I can also maybe on the side focus on picking up a rental here and a rental there and adding those values. And hey, I wish I could just go and buy a bunch of 2 units and 4 units and just make a bunch of cash flow. But here in the Bay Area of California, it's not going to happen. I don't care if you, like, nobody's going to sell you a deal that is going to cash flow like right away. It's just not going to happen. Even the best off market deal is not going to cash flow like that. It's just not
Right.
yet. Maybe one of
Right.
these days, but not right now.
But that's good that you have the skill set to like see it and actually do the construction. Like when you're doing a property where you're kind of, let's just take your single family and you're kind of almost making it into a duplex, like, or at least carving off some. My whole thing was, because I've been thinking about doing that in Las Vegas somewhere, like what I'd want to do though is figure out how to soundproof it really well. Cause that's like my pet peeve. It's like when you share a wall is like hearing somebody, like how do you soundproof that? So it's like, you don't get complaints and.
Well, okay, so yeah, I've actually I've done this a lot. I actually just converted for a customer. Actually, I did a single family home to 3 units for him. It was all one big single family home, and we split it into 3 separate units for him. And what I did is I built double walls, and I insulated them with soundproof mineral wool, so it's a different type of insulation. And then we do spray foam around it all and make sure all the gaps and everything are done. Then you do plywood, and then you do a sound barrier, and then you do sheetrock. And we also insulated those areas, those connecting walls underneath the house and in the attic really well, so sound didn't travel above and down below. Now, it's not perfect when you're on a wood raised foundation, because vibrations and stuff like that can travel through that. So if you're on like a slab, like a concrete slab, it's a lot less likely that it's going to travel through, but you could still do it with the raised foundation. But yeah, just adding layers. I had another one where somebody else did the conversion and there was a bunch of noise, and we actually got this. It's like, it looks like Dynamat. It's like it comes in a roll. We rolled it on the wall, and we put a few layers of that, put a layer of plywood, put a layer of sheetrock, and then finished it on an existing kitchen. And it worked big time for the guy. So ultimately, you're adding more layers, basically, just to deaden that sound.
Yeah, no, that's good info. Have you ever thought about like what Sam Wiegert's doing, like at co-living? Like that also seems like that would work really well in the Bay Area. And I
Hmm.
just don't know if I want the headache of managing
A bunch of,
4 or 5 or 6 people in one house, and they
I
complain
know.
because somebody leaves dishes. But Sam seems to actually he's crushing it in that realm. So I always think
Yeah,
like it always is appealing to me. I mean, there's a lot of ways to skin a cat, I guess, but
there
whatever the
is.
saying is. So that would be something else I would be interested in doing. And then you're still doing your keto diet.
I am.
20.
Yeah.
Good,
I
good.
I introduce more carbs than I used to. Just as like I never say I know everything because I definitely don't. And like the more you get knowledgeable, the more you can kind of shift and change. And as I'm becoming more knowledgeable, I'm learning that you shouldn't do full blown keto 100% of the time. You need to add in some carbohydrates so your body remembers how to treat carbs. And also you can enjoy yourself a little bit. Your family's having like a dessert or pizza or something like that. Like you don't have to eat that stuff all the time, but then you can eat it sometimes. But also it's better for your system. Your body does need carbs. And so without going too far off into the weeds, kind of the way that I view my health now, probably the last couple of years is once I kind of understood and learned this is like what did our hunter gatherer ancestors do? That's the probably the longest span of human life has been hunter gatherers. We've only been industrial age for a very small time. Humans have been around now for most definitely hundreds of thousands of years, maybe millions. We don't exactly know, but we know we were hunter gatherers for probably hundreds of thousands of years. And so, in that case, we didn't eat the same thing all the time. You saw a boar, you killed it, you ate it. And then when you didn't have any food, you went and dug up roots and ate those and ate grubs and these different things. And so, you know, allowing your body to know what to do with all these different things is a really good thing. And then secondly, kind of the other way that I treat it is how do I feel? So if I'm eating something that everybody's telling me is healthy, but I don't feel my body doesn't feel right when I eat it, I feel sluggish or whatever. Obviously, it's not for me. We can have these underlying kind of food allergies that we don't know about. So, and that's kind of how my diet is. I go based on my energy levels and dude, weirdly enough, I go based on my kind of my happiness levels too, because it all is part of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
So
that's good.
then at the end of the day, you got to freaking enjoy it. Like when I tell people what I eat and how I eat, they're like, man, that sounds terrible. I'm like, I love it. But I didn't start doing it. Like you and I started keto together. So you remember like that transition. We didn't just jump right into fasting and keto and all that sort of stuff right out of the gate. It was a slow transition.
Yeah, I was in Mexico on vacation. I just threw out my diet. And then my wife stayed in Mexico. So for like a month, I was just eating junk food, right? Like, dude, it, I was eating carbs, I was eating tacos, everything. What a difference. I just went back. I just went back and did keto and it's made a huge difference. All right. There he is.
He's
Finished.
back.
Okay. Anyways, guys, we're our time is up, but it was awesome to have Vinny, the birthday boy, on the line and bring in Mario, who Mario's a repeat guest on the show. Mario's always dropping some wisdom, and he's the guy to go to for anything construction or keto, and Vinny's the guy to go to for any large multifamily syndication. And now Vinny's in all these different realms, and he's getting into Web3 and NFTs, and I can't even keep up with what Vinny's into. He's
I
like
know.
he's like a 7-year-old. Uh, he's got the energy of a 22-year-old in a 70-year-old's body.
I know. Then he's like Benjamin Button. He's aging backwards.
I know he looks younger actually today. He's like, "Are you really 70, dude?" It's like, man, it's that Indian genes, man, that Indian genetics. He's just like doesn't age. He's getting younger. He'll be like 100, and he'll look the same that he looks now.
Right. Then he'll really be the guru at 100 years old. Once you hit that mark, you're the automatic guru at that point, Vinny.
Yeah. Well, what we're gonna do? I mean, I know. Probably you're gonna be busy for the next few months, but at one point, I'd like to get us all in a luxury house here in Las Vegas and do a 3-day mastermind, bring in Vinney and some really other smart friends of ours that can just like do a cool mastermind. I was thinking about shooting guns. And then, you know, just to do some like cryotherapy, eat good food, and mastermind for like 2 or 3 days. And Vegas is the perfect place to do it. So I'd love to see everybody again and do that here in the next, probably Mario needs about 6-7 months to do that. But
I can either do it before or after baby. Baby's born in January, so you just
maybe before. We'd probably do 2 nights. It's fine, right? We get in, just do it. Fly in Friday and home Sunday, and we'll get Vinney on board with that. Vinney's actually coming in October for a big event, and he invited me to. I forgot what it was, but it's not an NFT event, so I'm interested. So, anyways, guys, I don't want to keep everybody. Vinney, have a great rest of your trip in Mexico. Eat some tacos for me. Drink some margaritas.
He looks like he's in the jungle right now. Enjoy the jungle, man. We can't hear him, but we can see him.
Look at him. He's having fun, man.
He's loving it.
All right, guys. We'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you, guys. Happy birthday again, Vinney.
I hope you're having a sunny morning wherever you are. We are in the Bay Area. I think temperature is 72 degrees. It's going to be today. And I know you're ready for Vinney and Beau show, just like we come every week.
Another Friday in the books. I wasn't much of a runner, but now I started running at the gym because I'm like a little short guy with a lot of muscle, so it's hard to run.
We are Vinney and Beau show coming live to you from San Francisco, the great Bay Area, right here from Danville, Blackhawk. We always come to you on Friday at 9:30 a.m. Pacific and 12:30